We learn in the oral tradition that we are supposed to be like Abraham and not like Bilam. Bilam, we read about in this week's Torah portion. This week's Torah portion is called Balak. Balak is the king of Moab, and Balak is scared of the Jewish people. The Jewish people have won many battles that he's heard about, and he understands that the Jewish people are a force to be reckoned with. Also understands that he can't beat them with military prowess, that physical fighting of the Jewish people isn't going to work, because he's seen that the Jewish people have defeated every enemy that have come their way. So he has to find another plan to somehow deal with the Jewish nation that's huge and multiplying and coming his way. So he employs Bilam. Bilam is the non-Jewish prophet slash sorcerer slash person who can somehow perhaps curse the Jewish people, somehow outwit God and curse the Jewish people. So Balak employs Bilam to curse the Jewish people. Bilam was also employed by Pharaoh back in Egypt, back at the beginning when the Jewish people were multiplying. The same language is used where Pharaoh recognizes there's this Jewish problem. The Jewish people are multiplying, don't know what to do with them. And one of the advisors that he brings in to help him with the Jewish problem is Bilam. Bilam is the one who recommends to Pharaoh to throw all the Jewish baby boys into the River Nile, which he does. So now we're about 40 years later, and Balak's the king of Moab, and he's frightened, doesn't know what to do with this Jewish people, and he employs Bilam to come and to curse the Jewish people. So Bilam is somebody we're not supposed to be like. We are supposed to be like, in the antithesis of who we should be like is Abraham, and we learn about that in the Ethics of the Fathers. Be like Abraham. And the three traits that Abraham embodies that Bilam doesn't, I'm going to teach you. So the first one is to have a good eye. Abraham had a good eye. He saw other people. He saw the world. He had a kind outlook. He looked at people with generosity, with compassion, with kindness. He had a good eye, as opposed to Bilam, who had an evil eye, who was jealous and selfish and resentful of other people, looked kind of negatively at other people. So we're enjoined to be like Abraham with a good eye and not like Bilam with an evil eye. We're enjoined to be like Abraham, who is humble of spirit, who recognized that he had a mission in life to be able to bring godliness into the world, to connect Jewish people, to connect people actually to the divine, to the spiritual realms that are there. So I understand there's one God and we should connect to that. And he was about being a vessel for bringing people close to God. And he had to humble himself and recognize this was his mission. This was something he could do, that he had gifts of God given to him so that he could do that. This job of bringing people close to God, as opposed to Bilam, who is arrogant, arrogant spirit. He is prideful and conceited. He's somebody who's all about himself, very egotistical. And we learn that being an egotistical person blocks God. If it's all about me and it's all about I and being very narcissistic and very egotistical and I'm very arrogant and I'm very all about myself, then there's no room for God there. And finally, we're enjoined to be like Abraham, who is meek and modest of soul, who isn't looking to acquire lots of material possessions, as opposed to Bilam, who was greedy and was zealous for wealth. He was looking for money and gold and silver, and he was very, very acquiring lots of material goods. So in our Ethics of the Fathers, it tells us to be like Abraham, with a good eye, with a humble soul and a meek spirit. As opposed to don't be like Bilam, who has an evil eye and who is arrogant and who is greedy. Don't be like that. Bilam, as I mentioned, is somebody who Balak employs to go and curse the Jewish people. He saddles his donkey, just like Abraham saddled his donkey to go and do the binding of Isaac, to do the will of God. Bilam is saddling his donkey, and he's going off to do what Balak, he's going to talk to Balak, he's going to understand what it is that he has to do, and he's going to curse the Jewish people. And he saddles his donkey and he starts going along the way, and the donkey stops because the donkey sees on the path an angel with a sword. And the donkey stops, but Bilam doesn't see the angel, and Bilam is angry and he hits his donkey. The donkey goes, he stops again, hits him again, and we learn in the Torah portion, this week's Torah portion, that Bilam hits his donkey 3 times. The donkey doesn't go because he sees there's an angel in the way. There's a messenger from God to stop Bilam from going. There's an angel there with a sword in his hand. But Bilam doesn't see the angel. He can't see the angel. The donkey sees the angel. And then the donkey turns around and he talks to Bilam and he says, why are you hitting me? I'm your faithful donkey. I've taken care of you. Haven't I been loyal to you? Why are you hitting me? Bilam doesn't bat an eyelash that the donkey is talking to him. That's one thing, like there's a miracle right under his eye. And this talking donkey was also, we understand, created at the beginning of time, on the sixth day of creation, when the mouth of the earth that swallowed Korach, when the mouth of the well that gave forth water from the Miriam's well in the desert. These items, these things were created at the beginning of time, on the sixth day, at the end of the sixth day. And so was this talking donkey. Bilam doesn't bat an eyelash. He doesn't notice this miracle. And at that point, God opens his eyes and God lets him see that there's an angel there. Now, how humbling must that be for Bilam, who is so conceited and so arrogant and so full of himself and so angry that he's hitting his donkey, his faithful donkey. He's hitting out of anger. He's hitting his donkey. He's so blocked from the reality around him. God opens his eyes and he sees that angel standing there, and he understands in that moment that the donkey saw something that he couldn't see. So there's a few points to bring out here. One is for us to be like Abraham, to have a good eye, to be humble of spirit, and to be modest in terms of our acquisition of wealth, to recognize that we have a gift of speech, to use our speech well. Bilam was using his speech to curse the Jewish people, and actually what happened is that God turned all the curses into blessings. So as much as Bilam wanted to curse the Jewish people, he ended up blessing the Jewish people. So we can try to outwit God, but we're not going to succeed. And this is a message in understanding that our job is to line ourselves up as much with the divine energy in the world and to do the good thing, to do the right thing. And that what Bilam did was block himself through his anger, through his jealousy, through his arrogance. He blocked and he couldn't see what was right in front of him. And even the donkey could see, and even the donkey could talk, teaching us that the donkey talking means that the speech that we have is a gift from God. The fact that that donkey was given the gift of speech shows us that God gives us the gift of speech and that we should use our speech well. Finally, the last point I want to bring out is to not be angry like Bilam, the way he was hitting his donkey and not recognizing that perhaps that was not the right thing to do. He was so angry, so full of himself. He had such a desire to go and curse the Jewish people that he's hitting his donkey. And from this, actually, we learn not to be cruel to animals, not to hit animals, to be kind to animals. We learn it from this interaction between Bilam and his donkey. But he was so committed to going to curse the Jewish people, even though you can't curse the Jewish people if God says, and he knew it, that God says, I'm going to protect this people and take care of this people and support this people, and this Jewish people will be under my divine protection and you cannot destroy them. And as much as Bilam knew that, he was so wedded to his desire to curse the Jewish people and to get rid of the Jewish people and somehow outwit God, that he continued to do that, even though intellectually he knew he couldn't do it. He's doing it because he's so angry and he's so full of himself and he's so puffed up and arrogant that he somehow imagines that he can outwit God. So at the end of the day, we should be good. We see with a good eye. We should be humble. We should not acquire wealth. We should not be angry. All these character traits that take us away from connecting to the divine energy that there is in the world, so that we can line ourselves up, so that we can use our speech well, so that we can see if there are angels in our way, in our path. We should be kind to animals. We should be kind to each other. And we should use our words to ask for divine blessing.